Palantir has killed it this year. It is up 123% year to date. Everyone's excited. Palantir is back. It had an all-time high of $45 on January 27th, 2021. We were saying back then, go watch our videos to be very careful. We said we were interested around $5, and it fell to almost hit our number.
Yeah, it did.
The low 584 January of this year. But since then, it is up a ton more. So the question is Palantir back? So for those of you who are new to our channel, this channel is dedicated to talking about investments, specifically stocks and real estate. Every investment is the present value of all future cash flow. And when you buy a stock, you buy a piece of a business. If you believe those two things, you're going to learn a lot from this channel. That's the key here. And if you're a beginner investor or an advanced investor, we have something for you in this video. Either way, so stay the entire time. We're going to go through a Palantir. We're going to go through some bull and bear cases. We're going to go through some news recently, and we're going to go through our stock analyzer tool and analyst estimates. The stock analyzer tool will allow you to make assumptions about the future, and it'll tell you what price to pay based on those assumptions. So before we get rolling into that, let's go look at some high-level items of Palantir. Mo, look at this. Market cap of $30 billion. By every share outstanding, it's $30 billion. Look at the enterprise value.
Yeah, less.
So guys, what this means is, this essentially is the net debt. Since enterprise value is less than the market cap, they have a lot of cash on hand. A lot of cash on hand and very little debt, if anything. That is awesome. Now, the 5-year average free cash flow was negative, but last year, $346 million. I think they've had like 10 or 11 months, quarters in a row of free cash flow.
Yep.
That's incredible.
9 in a row, and
good for them.
This last quarter was huge.
Very huge. So guys, that's a huge positive. Absolutely huge positive. Here's a company that was losing money hand over fist for a long time. It's been around since 2004 or so. And now it's making good, steady, free cash flow. That's what I want you to remember. This is important for us. That's a very major plus for this company. But let's look at some other things. Profit margin is still negative.
Yep.
Very high gross margin, 78%. This means for every dollar they sell, 78 cents goes to, they can then go pay overhead and income taxes on. As an example, Microsoft is 68%. 1,000 bips higher than Microsoft, 10% higher than Microsoft. That's pretty big. A lot of other metrics don't look great, but that's okay.
But that's okay right now, yeah.
Yeah, why is that okay, Mo?
Because they're a newer company. They're still in a growth phase. I mean, it's not like they're an established company where I'm looking at this saying, oh, their return on invested capital is -4. That's going to be that way forever.
Right.
They have a long runway in front of them.
Yeah, because return on invested capital is the money that's invested in the business and getting a return on that. So I know that sounds complicated, but it's okay for a growing company to show a lower return on invested capital. It's even better if it's a growing company that shows a high return on invested capital.
Great.
It's probably subdued. It's probably not showing the actual number it should be.
Right.
So it's important to understand that company. Now, one thing I will look at here though, look at the price to sales ratio for Palantir. 15. Now guys, a great way to compare companies within an industry is to look at price to sales ratio. Let's pull up Microsoft, which by the way, we think Microsoft's overpriced. So just to show you, they're at 12. Now, Microsoft has a lot less growth potential than Palantir.
Of course.
Palantir has a lot more growth potential, so you should pay a premium. But don't just compare and stop there. Don't just say, oh, well, it's 15 versus 12. Microsoft's still overpriced. Microsoft should probably be around 6 to 8 times sales, in our opinion. So you're looking at this going, is Palantir worth 2 times more than what they should be? That's the question you have to ask yourself, and that's what we're doing here on the channel. All right, let's check out the 8 pillars here. Oh boy, a lot of X's.
Yeah, I would expect that.
Exactly. Why would you expect that, Mo?
Again, new company, they're going through a lot of growth phases right now. They're not generating, they're generating free cash flow, but it hasn't been for 5 years, so they're gonna get an X there. The PE is crazy. I mean, they don't have a PE, basically. You know?
Shares outstanding, look at that number.
Actually, I'm gonna look that up because they were diluting like crazy during COVID. I wonder if they've stopped that. They have
Go
not.
to quarter to quarter.
Quarter to quarter.
Yeah, let's look at the quarter. And guys, on our software, on the income statement at the very bottom, I mean, it's slowed down considerably.
Yeah, it has definitely slowed. Let's go back into 2020. That's when they were going crazy.
Oh yeah, big time.
Mm-hmm. So it's slowed. That's good. But again, that's why the pillar is going to look very poor.
Absolutely. So let's look at analyst estimates.
Yeah.
So guys, remember, on analyst estimates, we have them on our site. It's a good reference point, but still remember that analysts are just like you and I. They have their own biases. They have their own fear of career risk. They don't want to lose their jobs because they're saying something against it. And a lot of these analysts belong to investment banks that want to get business from Palantir. So imagine you're Palantir and you come in and say, hey, we need work. And somebody says, oh yeah, we'd love to do that work for you. Then why do you have us as a sell rating? They're going to be like, no, let's not do that. Growth. Remember, they're not showing a profit right now, but they're expected to show 21 cents this year. But the free cash flow is there, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking at this going, okay, let's say they make 50 cents a share. That's still a 30 PE on today's price for 2027's results. That's something to pay attention to, guys. We talk about forward PE. That's usually the 1 year forward, not the 4 years from now forward. Right, Mo?
Right.
Let's look at revenue growth. Okay, more than doubling in the next 4 or 5 years. Makes sense.
It does make sense.
Guys, Palantir uses data to solve problems for companies and countries. That's great. Now, they are starting to do smaller and smaller contracts because their goal is to grow faster and faster, which I think is a great idea. They can still make a lot of money on smaller contracts.
Yeah, but they're also doing big ones, like this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They've Panasonic Energy of North America, they've also agreed with Amazon Web Services. So the nice thing about them is they're going in all different directions: small, big, government, commercial.
So some people would ask, like, is that really...
Is that a smart decision, or just go into one category?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why don't you pull up some bull and bear cases, Mo, for Palantir?
So they have, again, this goes back to their government contracts. They've won a $463 million contract to create tech for U.S. Special Forces. They've partnered with Microsoft Azure. Now, going into the bear, and this is something that we talk about a lot, especially with these sized companies, 12 months ending March 31st of 2023, stock-based compensation was $1.4 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. Now, they hold 1.97% of the market share, so it's small, but I also can look at that as a bull case. They have a lot of ground that they can take.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's a bear case if you want to look at it that way. It's a bull case if you want to look at it the other way.
And by the way, Mo brings up a great point. A lot of news can be looked at in many different ways.
Oh, yeah.
Many different ways. Like, for example, we love it when stocks are down a lot. A lot of people hate that. We view it as a positive. Other people view it as a negative. We want you to sit there and say, this is the information. I've just got to take it for what it is and decide what does that mean for the company going forward.
Right. Digest it how you want to.
Yeah. So this is a stock analyzer tool. Like I said earlier in the video, our goal is to look at a company and say, what is the present value of all my future cash flow going to be? And can I pay the price today for that company that justifies that future cash flow? That's what's important here. If that makes sense to you, we're the right channel for you. If you don't understand it, but you say, well, wait a second. Yeah, if I give somebody $10 today and there's going to be a stream of cash coming to me in the future, that $10 is going to show me what my return is based on that. But we don't know the future. That's why the stock analyzer tool has been so popular for our users. 1.3 million uses last year because it allows you to make assumptions about revenue growth, profit margins, free cash flow margins, and your desired return to determine what that future cash flow will be. And then we present value back and tell you, based on that, this is the price you should pay for every share of stock. Okay? Doesn't factor in the balance sheet, and we've already confirmed this balance sheet for Palantir is very strong.
Yep.
A lot of cash, very little or no debt.
Yep.
That's a very strong balance sheet. It's hard for a company to go out of business when they have no debt.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's very, very difficult.
It's like, and equate it to your family. It's hard for your family to go into very hard times if you don't have any debt.
Yeah, if you owe no money on your car, your house, credit cards, student loans, if you lost your job for a few months.
And you have cash in the bank.
Yeah, and you have tons of cash in the bank, you're probably going to be okay.
Right.
Same thing. Great analogy, Mo.
Yep.
So guys, something a little bit different. Wednesday, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have a webinar involving real estate. We don't just do stocks, we do real estate. This is a free webinar. Sign up the link below. Free webinar involving real estate, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Sign up for it because even if you can't make it, you'll still get an emailed link that's good for 48 hours so you can watch it later. Sign up below. Okay, now let's check out the stock analyzer tool and determine what price to pay for Palantir.
All right.
So,
this is
Mo,
going to be a tough one.
This is going to be a tough one because we don't know.
It's a lot of unknowns.
10-year analysis. Actually, you know what? Should we do a 5-year analysis, Mo, on this one? Guys, usually I do a 10-year analysis, but I think 5 years is especially appropriate because a lot of this growth is going to happen in the next 5 years. It's going to be like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Mo, give me revenue growth assumptions for the next 5 years.
What do you think about, well, if you're changing it to 5, 8 might be too low.
I think 8's too low.
10, 15, and 20? Or do you think even higher than 10?
I think something like
I'm trying to go back.
12, 18, and 24.
Wow, okay.
Because if you look at the analyst estimates, Mo, go back to analyst estimates. go to look at those revenue growth assumptions.
Yeah, they're all above 20 except for the.
You know what I mean? I look at it going, okay, like I'm okay saying this is our high level. In fact, if you want to go 30, I'd be fine going 30. What about 15, 22, and 30?
Okay. Let's see what it comes out with.
Okay. Now, profit margin. This is very skewed because they haven't shown profit, but they've shown free cash flow, which we much prefer. That's a great thing this company is doing.
So what do you think about going near that? I'm looking at free cash flow margin, 17%. Why don't we go somewhere around 17%?
Okay.
Because if those two should be the same over time.
So why don't we do 15.
20, 25.
I was going to go 15, 20, 20. I was going to go 15, 22, and 30 again.
Okay.
And guys, remember, when a company doesn't have as much history, you got to make some assumptions here. And I'm looking at Microsoft. They have a lesser gross margin, but they're not growing as much, and they show like 30% of the bottom line. Mm-hmm. So is it possible this happens? Yeah. Is it probable? That's the question.
Yeah.
All right. What about PE?
Jeez.
Yeah. But with a lot of growth potential and a high return on invested capital potentially, you should be willing to pay a premium for this company.
17, 20, and 23.
Okay.
I was thinking about going higher in the middle, but.
I was too, but you're fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do you want to do 21, 24? Yeah,
do that.
So guys, all we're doing here, this is part of the art of investing. This is all part of why you join and why you do the community. Because you can, every single day, people tag us saying, what do you think of these assumptions? And we comment. It's all about the art of investing. We don't know the future, but you want to make reasonable assumptions about the future along the way. Your high should be high, but it should be something that's attainable at least. None of these things right here do I think are not attainable. I'm like, okay, these are attainable.
Yeah, they can crush it.
Yeah, they can crush it.
They're small enough to be able to crush it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now your desired return. This is essentially your margin of safety.
So this is where I'd probably go like 12, 15, and 18.
12, 15, 18. So what Mo's doing here is on the low side, he's saying, listen, this is pretty low. So I'm okay only making 12% return on my money. But this is pretty high. I need to get paid for that because it's less likely to happen. I want 18%. My personal opinion, I would have done 12, 16, and 20.
Okay.
But I think 12, 15, and 18 is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. In the middle, I still think there's a lot of risks to the company. There are a lot of question marks. We had some issues about how they report their earnings.
Yeah.
Kind of a little manipulated, we think, but we won't get into that. Hit the analyze button. Now remember, guys, we're going to show you the numbers. Stay through the end of the video because we're going to explain these numbers more thoroughly. So, red all around. Low price of 3, high price of 12, middle price of 650. We were saying 2 years ago we were interested around $5 a share. Now, guys, what these numbers below mean is, if the low numbers assumptions happen and you bought at today's price, you're going to lose 18% return if you believe that the present value of all future cash flows and this company does that. Middle assumptions, you're going to lose about 2.7%. High assumptions, you're going to make 13.5%. So the only profitable, based on our assumptions above, the only profitable investment here is assuming the highest returns,
and you have
the
to
highest
say,
assumptions.
Are they going to do 30% revenue growth over the next 5 years with, I can't remember the margins, but 24%.
30%.
30% margins.
All these high assumptions. Now, we did put a high return of 18%.
Yep.
But even saying at these today's price, you're going to make 13.5% if they hit everything home run out of the park. Mm-hmm. So guys, again, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, our webinar on real estate. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.